Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Women in AI Hackathon 2023. Today's technical session will focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in AI, shaping the fourth industrial revolution for all, presented by Hanna Abdel Hamid, head of Sigma Softwares Canada. Before we begin the workshop, our hackathon lead Lahiri Pakalapati will walk you through the technical challenge to help you understand our hackathon process and what to expect. Over to you, Lahiri.
Yeah, thanks, Nami. Thanks for the introduction. As Nami said, I'm Lahari. I'm organizing lead for the hackathon. So I'll quickly share few. I'll share a few slides regarding the our hackathon theme. So then it will be followed by Hanna's speaker session. Nami, just to confirm, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome everybody. So as you all know, so our hackathon's theme is AI for good, building a sustainable and inclusive future. And here, we do have challenges you to think beyond the conventional, and we are not just here to develop new technologies. We are here to direct these technologies toward solving some of the most pressing issues facing humanity and our planet Earth as well. So let's say, be it a climate change, poverty, healthcare, education, or social justice, like that. And okay, so I'll be sharing few points about how we are aligning with the World Economic Forum's vision, and I'll be talking about fourth industrial revolution and DEI, and which is diversity, equity, and inclusion in AI. And I'll share our commitment, and I'll talk about World Economics Forum's vision for AI and Earth as well. And then okay, so here, World Economics Forum's vision for AI and the Earth. So here it means this emphasizes the need for AI to play a transformative role in addressing environmental issues. So which means this includes climate change, biodiversity and conservation, and resource management. So in climate change, we'll be utilizing AI in climate modeling, predictive weather patterns, and optimizing energy consumption to mitigate the effects of global warming. And biodiversity and conservation. Yeah. So here we do concentrate on AI-driven solutions for wildlife monitoring, ecosystem management, and conservation efforts to protect biodiversity. And in resource management, we'll be implementing AI in managing natural resources, from water conservation to sustainable agriculture practices. And yeah, this is about World Economics Forum's vision for AI and the Earth. And coming to its emphasis on social challenges. So we do concentrate on healthcare, education, and economic inequality. And in healthcare, we would be enhancing, diagnostic accuracy, personalized medicine, and healthcare accessibility, especially in unserved and undeserved areas. And we do concentrate in education as well, which is using AI to personalize education, bridge learning gaps, and make quality education accessible to everyone, and regardless of geography or socioeconomic status. So that's our motto in education, and it's in economic inequality. We do have AI-driven approaches to address economic disparities, improve financial inclusion, and create equitable growth opportunities as well. And next, I'll be sharing about our commitment towards DEI, diversity, equity, and economic and equity. So here, like we'll be underpinning all these efforts in the World Economics Forums, which would be unwavering commitment to, as I have said, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So here, this means we do have building diverse teams, which is ensuring AI development teams are diverse and to avoid biases and build more inclusive AI systems. And equitable AI, which is developing AI applications that serve diverse populations and do not perpetuate existing inequalities. And inclusive design and accessibility. So we'll be making sure AI solutions are accessible to all, and including those with disabilities, and or designed with input from a wide range of users. So you would be seeing all these were covered under our hackathon challenge theme. So we do have various varieties which includes all these areas. And next, our call to action. So like we will be like as a participants of this hackathon, like you are at the intersection of these critical objectives. So we mean your innovations have the potential to like not only showcase the capabilities of AI, but also to contribute significantly to solving some of these, as I have shared, the pressing global issues. So like we would encourage you all to think deeply about these challenges and to collaborate and to innovate with a sense of purpose and responsibility. Yeah. Thank you. So
Thank you, Lahiri, for taking the audience to the brief of the technical challenge they need to get ready for. And for the audience, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask that in the chat, or you can always reach us in the Hackathon Women in AI email ID, and one of our hackathon leads will be happy to respond to you and give you the clarification that you're looking for. With that said, let's move on to today's technical session on diversity, equity, and inclusion in AI, shaping the fourth industrial revolution for all. As we navigate the ever-evolving landscape of technology, let's empathize the importance of diversity and inclusion. Our session today will be led by Hanna Abdel Hamid. Hanna is a highly experienced managing director, bringing a diverse skill set and extensive expertise across various business management skill sets. With the MBA degree, Hanna excels in negotiation, sales, business strategy development, operational management, and leads the cross-functional teams. Currently serving as the head of Sigma Software Canada, Hanna oversees the company's operation in Canadian market, contributing to significantly to its successful expansion in the region. Beyond her professional role, Hanna is actively engaged in community initiatives and holds a board seat in a nonprofit organization. Her dedication to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion is evidenced through her involvement in mentoring women and non-binary individuals in the early stages of their careers. Hanna provides guidance to help navigate professional and achieve their objectives. Hanna's achievement includes receiving a Strong Woman in IT 2023 recognition and earning a nomination for the Speaker of the Year award by Women Tech Network. She is also a nominee for the DEI Champion of the Year at the Startup Community Awards in Montreal. Hanna's commitment and enthusiasm makes her the standout leader both within her organization and in promoting DEI initiative in the broader community. We welcome an active participation from the audience by asking questions in the chat. Let's pave the way for an inclusive and equitable future for the fourth industrial revolution. Over to you, Hanna. You're on mute, Hanna.
I apologize for that.
No
Hi,
problem. All good now.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Nami. I am very grateful to be here with all of you wonderful people today to speak about a subject that is very close to my heart, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So before further ado, let's start. I want you to imagine for a moment a world where every voice, every perspective, and every background came together to shape the future. A world where diversity is not just celebrated, but it's actually woven in the very fabric of innovation and progress. It is with this vision in mind that we gather here today to explore the profound importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in artificial intelligence, and how it holds the key to shaping the fourth industrial revolution to benefit everyone. I am reminded by the timeless words of the great Maya Angelou, who once said, "In diversity, there is beauty and there is strength." These words resonate deeply with the heart of the discussion today, because it encapsulates the essence of why embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion is not just a moral imperative, but it's actually a catalyst for the transformation. Artificial intelligence, like any tool that we might be using, is only as good as the hand that wields it. It has the potential to either perpetuate existing biases and inequalities or to become a force of positive change and inclusivity. The path it takes depends on how we, as a society, choose to shape its development. So join me today in a journey to discuss diversity, equity, and inclusion in artificial intelligence. This is how I would like to structure the discussion. First, I'm going to define diversity, equity, and inclusion in the field of AI and connect the dots to how they relate. Second, we're going to take a look at the current state of artificial intelligence to be able to understand the challenges and biases that exist within the current AI systems. But we will not stop there. After that, we're going to actually address the importance of DEI in the field of artificial intelligence and try to make a case for it. After that, we are going to look into strategies of how we can each take a step in our own environment to promote for DEI. And finally, I would like to cover something that is the ethical AI development and how it correlates to artificial intelligence. To DEI. And finally, I'm going to close by sharing some key takeaways and open the floor for questions. Before doing that, I wasn't actually expecting Nami to do such a great introduction. So I was planning an introduction of my own, but I will just skip it because Nami did me a great favor. So thank you, Nami, again. So let's begin by defining diversity, equity, and inclusion in artificial intelligence as a first step. So diversity in AI actually refers to the variety of voices, backgrounds, and perspectives that are involved in the development and use of AI systems. It means having people from different walks of life with different experiences and expertise working together in AI research and application. On the other hand, equity is all about fairness, as we all know. But in AI, it means ensuring that everyone has an equal opportunity to do three things: to access AI, to contribute to AI, and to benefit from AI and its technologies. So basically, it's like making sure that the race starts at the same line for everyone, regardless of their backgrounds. Finally, inclusion is the practice of actively involving and valuing all individuals in AI processes and decision-making. It means making sure that diverse voices are not only heard, but they're also respected and empowered to make a difference. Diversity, equity, and inclusion in artificial intelligence, it's not just a nice thing to do, a moral obligation, or a checkbox that we need to tick. It is actually essential to the success of artificial intelligence itself. Artificial intelligence, as we all know, is actually meant to serve humanity, and humanity is diverse. If we only have one type of voice, one perspective, or one set of experiences that are going to shape AI, it will not understand or serve the diverse need of our global society. Moreover, without equity and inclusion, AI can perpetuate existing biases and inequalities. It might end up making decisions that favor only some groups while ignoring or harming other groups. And I don't think this is the kind of AI we're all striving to accomplish. So remember, when we talk about DEI in artificial intelligence, it's not just about being fair and inclusive. It's actually about making artificial intelligence better, smarter, and more beneficial for everyone. Now that we have an understanding of what DEI is when it comes to artificial intelligence, let's dive deeper into the exploration of artificial intelligence and the impact that it has in our world, and why it is crucial to actually take a closer look to the state of AI, the current state of AI, to better understand how it's functioning right now. As you all know, AI systems are incredibly powerful, but they're not perfect. They learn from data, and if that data contains biases or inaccuracies, AI can inherit those biases. Let's for a second imagine that we have a teacher who is teaching his students from a very outdated book that only teaches one perspective. So this is going to result into the students only having one perspective of the whole universe. And this is not something we would like to propagate in AI. So let's look together at some of the most current, the most common and the most significant challenges we can encounter in AI nowadays. Number one is the bias in AI algorithms. AI programs, as I mentioned, can pick up biases from their training data, which can lead to unfair outcomes. Let's be very practical. I'll offer you an example. In criminal justice, some AI systems are going to unfairly target certain communities based on biased historical data. This happens because past arrests were actually biased too. So automatically, these groups that they were targeted in the past, they're going to continue to be discriminated against. So fixing biases in AI algorithms is actually vital for ensuring that AI services provide equitable and fair outcomes for everyone. Another challenge that is often faced in the artificial intelligence world is actually the lack of diversity in AI development team. AI industry often lacks diversity in its workforce, and this can result in products and systems that do not consider the needs and perspective of underrepresented groups. As an example, when we're designing an AI system for healthcare, if a development team is not diverse and is not from different walks of life, well, the development team might overlook the unique healthcare needs and experiences of various demographic groups, such as women or racial minorities. And this oversight can actually lead to biased medical diagnosis, treatment, or recommendation that do not adequately address the health concern of this underrepresented population. So it is very crucial to have people from various backgrounds involved in AI development to ensure that the technology benefits everyone and doesn't discriminate against certain groups. Finally, the last most common challenge we see is access to education in AI and getting resources for certain groups. Access to education in the field of AI is not equitable. And this limits the opportunities for individuals from marginalized backgrounds. As an example, many AI research and development position requires many to have advanced degrees in either computer science or related fields. But unfortunately, if you come from a less fortunate family or from a marginalized community, you might not have access to, first of all, money to fund your education, or even be considered for scholarships and so on and so forth. And this is, on the long run, what is going to happen, it's going to create a lack of access in a diverse pipeline of talent for AI. Addressing the challenge of unequal access to AI education and resources is not only a matter of equity, but also it's a key step toward harnessing the full potential of diverse talent. And this is going to ensure that AI field reflects the rich and diverse world we live in. So very important to keep in mind that these challenges, although they exist, they could actually be overcome. So now that we have a better understanding of the challenges that currently exist in the field of AI, we actually need to make a case of why diversity, equity, and inclusion in artificial intelligence is actually very important. So let's make this case together. First of all, let's explore the benefits of having diversity, equity, and inclusion in the world of artificial intelligence. I am someone who loves sharing examples and tell stories. So bear with me, you're going to hear a lot of examples. So imagine that you are a team of puzzle solvers. Each one of you will come to the table with a unique piece of the puzzle. And when people from diverse backgrounds with different perspectives and experiences come together to develop AI, they bring those specific pieces of their knowledge to the table. This diversity enriches the process, and it leads to more creative solutions and better decision-making. Diversity in AI teams actually means to have a broader range of ideas and a deeper understanding of the world's complexities. It also helps artificial intelligence systems to become more adaptable, responsive, and relevant to a diverse society. In essence, diversity enhances innovation. This is very important to keep in mind. Now, let's make a second case and look and turn our attention to the risk of ignoring DEI in artificial intelligence. When artificial intelligence development like diversity and neglects equity and inclusion, it can actually perpetuate biases and create technology that is unfair and biased and even harmful to some groups. If we only hear one side of the story, our AI system will miss on the diverse perspective that can help them make fair and informed decisions. Imagine for a second that you go to a doctor and the doctor only listens to half of the symptoms you're sharing. This is going to result in the doctor either prescribing wrong medication to you or misdiagnosing you. And in both cases, it's a lose-lose situation. Similarly, if AI doesn't consider the full range of human experiences, it can lead to unfair outcomes, discrimination, and negative consequences for some groups. And this is why it's important to advocate for DEI in artificial intelligence. Now, let's shift to a brighter note and discuss some successful DEI-focused projects in artificial intelligence. There are actually many shining examples of how embracing DEI can lead to AI projects that make positive impact. But today I'm just going to share two examples. Let's, for instance, consider AI-driven language translation systems that aim to eliminate gender bias in translation. By involving linguists, cultural experts, and gender specialists from various backgrounds, this system can now provide more accurate and equitable translations that respect gender identities. Another good example is actually AI-powered hiring tools that actively work to remove bias from the recruitment process. By involving diverse teams in their development, these tools can now help level the playing field and ensure fair opportunities for all candidates. The case for diversity, equity, and inclusion in AI is actually very clear. It's not just a moral imperative, it's actually a strategic advantage. Diversity enriches AI development, making it more innovative and responsive to the needs of a diverse world. By ignoring DEI, this can lead to biased and unfair outcomes, and it will continue to perpetuate inequalities. By learning from successful DEI-focused projects, we can see the potential for technology to benefit everyone, regardless of their background. Now, let's explore the strategies that can help us overcome these challenges, and let's delve deeper to learn about practical steps that we can take to promote DEI in the field of artificial intelligence. First, I want us to look into actionable steps and strategies. Promoting DEI is not just a lofty goal. It's actually a journey filled with actionable steps that each of us can take. This includes actively seeking diverse perspective when making decisions, continuously educating ourselves about biases, and advocating for inclusive practices within our organization. We each have a role to play within our respective organization. And these small steps are actually very meaningful because collectively they can contribute to a more inclusive AI landscape. Another thing that we can focus on is mentorship, outreach, and inclusive hiring practices. Mentorship plays a vital role in nurturing diverse talent in AI. Imagine a young plant that thrives when it's nurtured by a more experienced gardener. In AI, mentorship programs can provide guidance and support to individuals from underrepresented backgrounds, and it's going to help them grow and excel in their careers. Also, outreach efforts are equally important because they involve reaching out to communities that are traditionally underrepresented in AI, and it could provide them with educational opportunities and resources. So by extending our support and sharing knowledge, we can diversify the talent pipeline in AI for the future. Finally, it's very important, and I cannot stress it enough, to have inclusive hiring practices like building diverse inclusive hiring practices are like building a diverse orchestra with various instruments. Organizations need to actively recruit and hire individuals from diverse backgrounds. This includes removing biases from the hiring process and considering non-traditional qualifications and creating inclusive environment where everyone feels welcome. Lastly, let's recognize the role of organization, government, and academia. Each of these three institutions have a very vital role to play. Organization can establish policies that promote DEI. They can create an inclusive workplace and allocate resources to support DEI initiatives. Organization can also set diversity goals, and hold themselves accountable and measure progress over time. Governments also have a very important role to play because they can enact policies and regulations that incentivize diversity and fairness in artificial intelligence. They can also encourage transparency and accountability in AI development and ensure that AI systems do not discriminate against any group. And finally, academia is where the future of AI talent is actually nurtured. So it's essential for educational institutions to prioritize diversity in their programs and encourage students from all backgrounds to pursue AI studies. By doing so, academia can actually help bridge the diversity gap in AI research and development. It is important to keep in mind that promoting DEI in artificial intelligence requires a concerted effort from individuals, organization, government, and academia. It's about taking actionable steps, offering mentorship and outreach, and adopting inclusive hiring practices. When we all contribute to these strategies, we move closer to a future where artificial intelligence benefits from the rich diversity of our global society. Now that we spoke about how to take actionable steps to promote DEI, let's look into the relationship between ethical AI development and diversity, equity, and inclusion. First, let's explore the importance of ethical guidelines. Ethical guidelines are like a compass that guide us along the path. They provide us with a clear sense of direction. They help us make decisions that are morally sound and respectful of human values. Ethical guidelines in artificial intelligence are not just a set of rules. They are actually a compass that ensure that AI systems respect human rights, avoid harm, and promote fairness. These guidelines are actually the foundation upon which ethical AI is built. Now let's talk about accountability, transparency, and fairness. Transparency is like a sunlight that illuminates the inner working of AI systems. It means making AI processes and decision-making visible and understandable to all. It's like driving with a car with a transparent engine. You can actually see how it works and trust that it's safe. Accountability is about being responsible for the consequences of AI actions. When things go wrong, accountability ensures that those responsible are actually held answerable. It is like the driver being responsible for the car's actions and not the car itself. And finally, fairness is the cornerstone of ethical artificial intelligence. It means treating everyone equally and without bias. It's like a referee in sports game, ensuring that all players have a fair chance to score. Fair AI decisions don't favor one group over the other. Lastly, let's emphasize the integration of DEI to ethical AI principle. DEI is not a separate entity from ethical artificial intelligence. It's actually an integral part of it. Just as diverse voices enrich the ethical debate, they also enrich the development of ethical AI principles. Including DEI means ensuring that the ethical guidelines and principles we create consider that the diverse needs, the perspective and values of all individuals, and also of all communities. In conclusion, ethical AI development is not an option, it's actually a necessity. Ethical guidelines provide us with a moral compass, transparency that ensure that AI is accountable, and fairness to make sure that everyone is treated equally and ethically within AI. Now that I'm done explaining how ethics in AI and DI are correlated, I would like to close by sharing some key takeaways about my speech. In conclusion, our exploration of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the realm of artificial intelligence has revealed a rich tapestry of challenges, opportunities, and strategies. So let's recap the key takeaways. Number one, DEI is essential. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just a moral imperative, as I mentioned. They are essential for the success of artificial intelligence. Number two, as we all know, like everything in life, challenges do exist. We must acknowledge and address the barriers to DEI in artificial intelligence, and that the main three barriers we looked in today are not the only one. There are actually more. So I encourage each and every one of you to research the challenges to better understand them. Third key takeaway, it's to promote DEI in artificial intelligence, we need to actually take actionable steps such as mentorship, outreach, and inclusive hiring practices. And also it's important to remember that organizations such as governments, academic institutions, and so on, all have a role to play in fostering DEI in artificial intelligence development. Another key point is that ethical AI development is fundamental, and this involves the use of ethical guidelines to ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness in AI systems. And DEI should be seamlessly integrated to the ethical principles of AI. Finally, I want to close by having a call to action. We have a collective responsibility to champion the cause of diversity, equity, and inclusion in artificial intelligence. By actively addressing the challenges, implementing strategies, and upholding ethical standards, we can actually shape the future, a future where artificial intelligence truly reflects the diversity of our world and benefits everyone equitably. As we move forward, let's carry these key takeaways with us and continue to work together to build an AI landscape that honors the principle of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's ensure that AI becomes a powerful force for good, serving humanity in all its beautiful and diverse form. So thank you for your attention, and let's embark on this journey together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Hanna. And we loved your practical examples to connect with the real world. So, like going to the doctors, driving a transparent car. These are things that people do on a day-to-day. And I'm sure our audience were able to really connect with the examples so that it's stood with them even more. before we do the full wrap up and takeaways, I just wanted to see if there's any questions on the from the audience side you want to ask to Hannah. Anybody wants to put your hands up, we can unmute you and you can ask directly, or feel free to put your questions on the chat and we will take it to Hannah. While they're doing that, Hannah, I actually want to ask a question to you because I know what you do in Sigma Softwares as well. So one of your takeaway you mentioned is call for action from a DEI perspective in AI. I know in Sigma Softwares you have done a great job in driving a diversity equality from a ratio of men versus females, or males versus females in your organization. So tell us about it and how did you do that?
Of course. So as you know, Sigma Software Group is a global company, and one of the things that our founders, the 5 founders of Sigma are all men, but we have a lot of women engineers in the company. We have a lot of admin women in the company, and one thing that our founders wanted to do is to give these women a fair chance to grow in the ranks of the company. So they decided to do mentorship programs. So a woman who has more experience as an engineer will take a junior engineer under her wing and help her pave her career. And even these founders, all the women that kind of wanted to grow within the company to become a VP, to head a division like myself now, they also offered counseling and coaching to these women to make them, to bring their level to match the founder's level, to be able to to hold a high position within the company. And another thing that Sigma did, for example, for engineers that wanted to kind of become management, but they don't have any managerial education or any business education, the company offered to pay them classes if it's not within like Sigma Software University, within outside university. So there were a lot of encouragement and empowerment from our founders. And this continues right now. Like, with all the women, as you mentioned, we have 50-50 parity, gender parity in our managerial team. So even myself, if I know that one of my team members is aspiring to grow, I will offer her mentorship. I will offer her guidance as, what to do. So I find it's very important for leadership to actually make it a mission for them to achieve gender parity or to achieve DEI within the company. Because when you see your boss or your CEO or anyone in managerial position have this goal, all the employees are actually going to follow that, because people like to see leaders that lead by example. So this is, I think, how we achieved it.
Awesome. And we have a hand up from Christella. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, Christella?
Oh yeah, thank you. I just have a question about if you have any kind of bias in the dogma for that they follow to create the data. So, and probably maybe you know this story already, but in like 2017, it kind of came to light that a textbook from a nursing textbook had like a cultural differences in response to pain section, and it was separated by race. So, that is kind of highly problematic because, then we're maybe not responding to pain equally depending on a person's race. So how can you mitigate that kind of risk? Because that's something that is taught in school, right, for the nurses, but we know that that's not really like a fair way to treat people or to treat pain.
That is actually a very good question. I wasn't aware that.
I can send the article.
Yeah, please do. It's interesting. I didn't know that people react to pain depending on their race, and that you're actually taught that in school.
I don't think they actually do, but they are teaching it as like that's like a cultural, like how they view pain in each culture. But it's kind of difficult because, like, as we know, Black women typically are the most disregarded in healthcare, and like they have the highest rate of death from childbirth, right? So because their pain is ignored. So we want to reduce these kinds of things because, you know, they're teaching them that in school, but we know, like as practitioners in like responsible AI, that it's not really actually fair.
Yeah, no, I definitely it isn't. And I think the best way to do is to speak up. You see, like you're teaching me something new. And I find it's important to have a voice and to speak our truths and to share this. And the beauty of how the society is today, like it's very easy to start people talking about a subject like this one. You know, there's so many platforms that could be used for you to talk about this. And honestly, if I would see this in a textbook, I would actually be the kind of people who's going to start writing to the people who created this textbook, to who published the textbook, or like to the universities where this is being taught, because I think it's unfair. And yeah, I honestly don't know how else to answer you. I'm kind of shocked right now. I didn't know that this existed, and it's taught here in Canada.
I'm not 100% sure. It is, I think it was a Pearson book. I saw it
Yeah,
in one of the articles.
okay.
Yeah, but they did pull, yeah, it's Pearson, but they pulled it in 2017 after it gained a lot of backlash in the public. But then imagine how many years and how many people are following this kind of, you
Yeah,
know.
no, I just opened it, and I am actually Muslim and may not request pain medicine, but instead thank Allah for pain. This is so
No, no.
this is ludicrous. Wow.
Yeah, and like even like the fact that they have Jews, not even Jewish, and like Ashkenazi Jewish is like the racial, you know, background, but that even that is like, how are you supposed to know that they're ethnically that, you know?
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing this up. I don't know if I answered your question. I was shocked more than anything, so it was hard for me to organize my ideas. But as I said, my first response would be to take this to a public platform and, you know, get the conversation going on it, because yeah, this
Yeah.
makes sense. Thank you very much, Stuti.
Thank you for the question, Priscilla.
Yeah,
I
thank
guess
you.
it's a perfect example showing that how DEI in AI is bigger than what all of us knows. So it's always there's something, a new case study or new examples that we can connect with, or somebody knows that somebody doesn't. So these are, I think it relates to our hackathon challenge as well. So hopefully one of our teams will pick something like this, and we can come up with a solution for all. There's a question on the chat from Maria. Thanks for the great presentation, Hannah. From your experience, what do you consider is the #1 challenge for newcomers from a DEI perspective?
Oh, that's an excellent question. You know, I'll speak from personal experience. My father is a pharmacist. I'm originally from Sudan, and my father, when we used to live in Sudan, he was a pharmacist. He owned a couple of pharmacies. And the problem here, when you come as a newcomer, there is kind of there's a bias against your education. People believe that if you don't have education from, like, I don't know, from the Western world or whatever, it is not valid education. So I grew up here. I came here very young and I had my education here. But many of the newcomers, and especially the women that I mentor, most of them come here. They have doctoral degrees, like, you know, they're physicians, you know, they're engineers, but their education is not accredited. So I think when you're coming here and trying to start your career going, this is going to be the first challenge that you're going to face. And like this could be the first one that I would think of.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for that. Maria, I hope that answered your question. Next question is from Nida. How would you go about designing solution for governments with promoting DEI as a general citizen, as a regular citizen?
I honestly cannot answer this question because I'm not an engineer, so I don't know all the ins and outs about designing solutions. Like if you mean like from a tech perspective, I wouldn't be able to answer that. However, if we're talking about designing a service, designing something for the citizens in general, how I would approach the government is by looking at the demographics. Like, let's say I want to provide a response for like healthcare for women, and let's say I want to kind of target Native American women, because I know in Canada they're like, they're not always looked after properly, especially when it comes to healthcare. So what I would look at the demographic of women, of Native women, and what seems to be the most problematic issue for them to access healthcare. Is it because they live in reserves and it's in the reserves like big hospital or far? Is it because they don't trust the system and they don't want to seek healthcare? And based on the problem that I'm going to find, I am going to start building resolutions for it and present it. This is how I would go about it. I'm not sure if it answers your question, Naida, because I feel that it was more from a technical level that you're asking, but I hope this kind of gave you a bit of like a guidance.
You actually got it right. I was asking more in the sense that you answered, not the technical solution.
Okay.
So thank you so much for that.
No problem, Naida. It's my pleasure.
We have one more question in the chat from Farnak. Thank you for the great talk. How do you suggest to hold the organization we currently work in and the senior leaders accountable?
This I can definitely answer to. As I mentioned, Sigma Software is a global company, but actually I was the first. Sigma Software is a Swedish-Ukrainian company. I was the first person that they hired who is not either Swedish or Ukrainian in a managerial position. And we are expanding. So our HR practices, everything was very typical to like a European perspective, if I can put it this way. So as I was, going inside the interviews, I was interviewing in Africa because at some point we were expanding our team in Africa. We were expanding the team in LATAM. And it came very clear that perhaps the hiring practices that we're using for Europe are not valid for Africa, or not valid for LATAM, or the testing method, because we have to test people, right? Like, to go into managerial level. So this prompted us to kind of, okay, we think, why are people from Africa are failing this test, or why are people from LATAM are failing this test when we know that they have the education? And it was actually the way we are asking the question. There was like a language barrier. So we started looking into that. Another thing is, now that we're really expanding, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm a big advocate for DEI. So within Sigma, we have Sigma Software University, which is a university that offers learning both to Sigma employees and to outside people. So I became involved with them we hold like conferences for the employees, for people outside. So I became involved by giving a lot of speeches about why is DEI a good strategy, how to overcome unconscious biases, because we all have them, but we don't know how to overcome them, or even how to realize that we have them. So I got myself involved in a lot of this initiative. And you can actually hold your organization accountable by reaching to HR, by reaching to, if you have a committee inside that looks I'm trying to find the correct word, but yeah, it's not really, it's HR, but something similar, like, or employee organization, or I don't know, I'm trying to find the word, but I can't find it. But it's by going to them, sharing, like, let's say you feel that you are not included enough because you're a woman, or you are not included enough, or you feel that there are not enough things to help you advance because you're a woman, you could share this with them and ask them, how are we going to solve it? And companies, especially in the tech industry, it is so hard nowadays to find good and skilled employees who are going to stay. So companies are very, very open and very receptive to, to feedback from their employees. And when they see that it's more than one employee, and it always takes one person to start talking to get everyone on board. So this is how I would hold, I would actually first start the discussion. And once the leadership decides to put a program in place, employees have the right to ask, okay, share with us after a year. You said like you're going to help women achieve more managerial role. Where are we from 1 year before, for example, when this came into discussion? This is how you would hold, by first reporting the problem or the issue, waiting for the management team to come with a solution, and then revisit it like several months later for you to see where they are at. I hope that helps.
We have one last question. Go ahead, Deputy. Can you unmute? You're muted still.
Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, good now. Go ahead.
Hi, Hannah. Thanks for your presentation. It was great. I really enjoyed. And also, I want to say it was a pleasure to meet you at Collision, if you remember me. And yeah, I want to just share my experience. And I want to add to your presentation. I was at a conference last week, and it was very hard for me to see there were just 3 women in that conference. And I was so sad, and it was very hard for me to see how, like, I was in a room, how they look at me and underestimate me. But I tried to be a good advocate there, and I had a conversation with organizer and everything. And I just want to say, okay, we need more like you in industry to advocate for the other women. And I really feel proud to like meet you in person and know you. Thanks for your presentation. That's it.
It's my pleasure, Speedy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah, that's good.
And you don't need actually more women like me. I think every woman is responsible for advocating for other women. And there is I don't remember. I love quotes. I read a lot. And I read a quote. I don't remember who wrote it, but it says like, if you're not offered a seat at the table, bring your own chair. And I know for us as women, depending on how, like, what is our background, how we are raised at home, sometimes it's hard for us to do that. I was lucky, actually. I am still lucky. We're 6 girls and 1 boy at home. And my father, the way he raised us, he did not differentiate between my brother and us. He always raised us to be like, speak your mind, don't be afraid. Like, the worst thing that you could hear is a no, but at least you have tried. And I think it's very important, like, for us to start, like, teaching this to our daughters, if we have daughters, our nieces, our friends, whoever, advocate for yourself, because sometimes it's not that these men don't want to give us a chance. It's because we actually never asked for a chance. So they take for granted, like something that used to piss me off a lot when I was like working, not in this industry, in other industries, I would come to a meeting, and if it's all men, they would look at me to take notes. And the first time I said, okay, I'll take notes. But then I said, why are they designating me as the secretary? And at some point I said, no, I'm not taking notes. Why don't you ask somebody else to take notes? And the response was, well, because you took it the first time, we thought you liked it. Like, no, I don't. I hate taking notes. So sometimes it's just us speaking up our opinion, speaking up our feeling, and not feel like we have to please everyone. I know that as women, I don't know if this is how we're built or whatever, we like to please others. I don't know why we have this sense, we're born with it, I don't know, but at some point we have to stop wanting to please other people and stand for ourselves. But I'm very happy to see you again, Spide, and I'm pretty sure I go to a lot of conferences, we're going to end up meeting again.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for that, Hannah. For the interest of time, there's one more question on chat, so I'm going to take that from Preeti. Thank you so much for the insightful talk. What's your perspective on the hiring bias towards experienced professionals over new graduates? especially when entry-level jobs demand two years of experience. How can organizations tackle this experience-based discrimination to offer fair chance to new graduates?
You know what? This is actually an excellent question. And sometimes I find, when companies say it's an entry-level position, but they require 5 years of experience, I find it like, honestly, it doesn't make sense. What I would suggest is, while you're doing your studies, is to try to find internships, because internships can actually count as experience. And also, most of the time, and this I see it a lot in women, I receive a lot of CVs. So I'm talking by experience. Women will not send their CV unless they check at least 90% of the requirements. Trust me, many times, like, it's just, they write 2 to 3 years. But if you have 1 year experience and you present yourself well and your CV is well written and you have a good introduction letter, companies are going to overlook it. So don't stop yourself. My advice to you, Pretty, is do not stop yourself from sending your CV to a company if they're asking for 2 to 3 years experience and you're a fresh graduate. You could show through your cover letter that you have acquired experience, either by getting internships, either you could speak about even the projects that you have worked on during school. And I'm going to tell you actually something. I'm going to share this. I have never worked in the tech industry before Sigma. And for me to get an executive position at Sigma without working in tech is not something that I envisioned myself ever getting. But how I presented myself to one of the founders at Sigma, who was my client, he believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I told him, I was like, all these other women, but I don't understand tech this much. Like, how can I speak to clients? How can I manage a team of engineers when I'm not an engineer? And he told me, Hanna, just learn. You can learn. So most of the time, it's us who put our own barriers because we feel we have an imposter syndrome. So you truly just have to advocate for yourself. And by writing, and Pretty, you know what? I'm very good at writing CVs because I've processed so many CVs in my life. So if ever you need help, you're a fresh graduate and you don't know how to place your CV in a way that seems appealing to employees, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy if Nami or Frenzy share my information with you, and I'll help you write a good CV. And I can even help you prep. Most of the time, the moment you get an interview, this is actually your chance to shine, because this is where your personality is going to shine. This is where your know-how is going to shine. And most of the time, companies are more interested in people who have good soft skills than technical skills, because technical skills you could learn them, but someone who is professional, who know how to present themselves, who know how to talk, it's very hard to find. So just keep that in mind. And I do know that there is discrimination, but trust me, the more you send your CVs, the more results you're going to get.
Thank you so much for that, Hanna, and that was a very generous offer for all of you. For the interest of time, I think we're almost 2 minutes in, so we're going to wrap up the session for today. We loved your session, Hanna. It was a really pleasant discussion, as well as the questions, and the answers came from your heart. So I'm pretty sure our audience were able to connect with that as well. But as you said, AI is only as good as the hands it builds it. So it's on each of us to make AI more responsible, and each of us to innovate and make sure our voices are heard, so AI can help shape this world for better. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just the moral requirements, they are the fundamentals for the success of AI. The absence of diversity can result in biased algorithm, unfair outcomes, and missed opportunity for innovation. So that says a lot for our hackathon participants. Make sure that you take that into consideration and keep that in mind while you design your solution for the hackathon challenge. And thank you so much for Hanna for your time, and for the participants for taking time to join this session. So with that said, we will wrap up today's session.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.